Hey everyone, welcome back. A while back, someone dared me to do the MK1-BRATON Viable challenge on Steel Pass while on stream. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to do it live, so instead we get a short little video about it today. As per usual challenge rules, we are not going to be using ribbons for it. And to not be a one-trick, I'll show you several ways on how you can actually make the MK1-BRATON viable on Steel Pass. Of course, there are less viable ways to use it, and I'm also not going to make an exhaustive list of ways that it can be made more viable, but hopefully today's adventure is a reminder that Warframe is a lot more about build synergies and knowing how mechanics work, than just raw big PP numbers from weapons. And here we go. The first one we're going to look at today is Volts. Someone pointed out recently that if Volts is my favorite frame, then how come I have so few videos of him on my channel? This was because my channel used to feature Eidolons heavily, and almost all of the meme runs were done on Volts. So I used normal build content as a way to distance myself from him. I guess I never got out of that mentality even though I stopped uploading meme runs, so today I'll take this chance to feature him again. Just keep in mind these aren't super in-depth builds or synergies today since I have so many to cover. Most of the builds you'll be seeing Combat Discipline in Arcane Avenger to patch up a missing stat line in the MK1-BRATON since it has such bad stats. If you didn't know, the self-damage inflicted by this aura can trigger Arcane Avenger for that sweet flat 45% crit chance bonus. Consequently, Arcane Acceleration to push the DPS of this weapon further since it's a bit copium. Volt doesn't have an easy way to cheese Braton DPS, so I focused on ensnare grouping instead of his innate discharge to pile enemies in one easy place, and minimize the time spent trying to reacquire targets on new enemies and maximizing the punch through from primed shred. This also lets you reliably place your Volt shield to DPS behind without worrying of enemies rushing you due to the weapon's slower TTK. Volt's shield doubles the damage of crits and crits only, but also adds 50% electric per shield shot through to your weapon, and does not combine with existing elements. This gives it a little CC power, but I wouldn't rely on it for DPS since the status of Braton is rather poor. I do also have Shock Trooper on this build for more utility, but other weapons could take advantage of it better for grouping DPS. In theory, I could have kept Discharge and took Roar for double dip slash, but well, that's boring, right? We have Giga Range to make sure Ensnare pulls a ton of enemies, 26.5 meter radius, in fact. Efficiency is neutral to make shield gating a bit easier. The minor duration penalty from Transient Fortitude is negligible, since both the shield and Shock Trooper will last beyond 30 seconds. Speed helps with reloading too. The Braton? It's weak enough I built it for pure slash. We're gonna have to outsource Viral elsewhere today. The important parts are Prime Shred mandatory since single target weapon. This turns it into a crowd killer. I actually have Amalgam Serration on only because of how weak this weapon is. Without it, it's nearly impossible to kill anything to get our Merciless stacks going, unfortunately. Hammer Shot is just for more crit damage scaling alongside Vital Sense for the Arcane Avenger procs. Aptitude since we get all IPS from Sustained Fire, plus whatever my primers will add. You can easily get IPS plus Viral plus another element or two out of this, for 400 to 480% base damage scaling. It's just you need to get kills before the stacks activate, but at the end when you combine this with the Weapon Arcane, Aptitude, and Serration, you're looking at about nearly 1000% base damage. Hunch Munitions for slash scaling and bypass armor, and Prime Bane to double dip it for 2.4 times more damage. Merciless like I said because we kill with slash and the reload bonus. And Vigilante Supplies since this is a bullet hose weapon. Bonus crits and ammo conversion. All the builds today will be paired with primers of your choice in the pistol or melee slot. This is a 2 Augur Mod Viral Radiation Blast Cold Epitaph Primer build. Dexterity Arcane gives holster speed, and for the melee, we gotta play KHORA Sikale Quana 2 Jai. Za built for max status and priming with Exodia Contagion. You want this at 12x combo if you use it, which can be supplemented with Naramon and Dexterity Weapon Arcanes to extend the combo duration if you're using Xeneric instead. It procs Blast, Viral, Corrosive, and all IPS. This Volt is taking Xeneric this time for Energizing Dash since we don't have Energize. The Contagion Primer still has a 22.5 seconds combo duration, so it should be okay. We're also bringing a Panzer for Equilibrium synergy with Synset and Viral Quills for global pet assists, which results in health orbs everywhere, and being able to pick them up even at full HP, which becomes energy, and the free Viral procs, so yeah. Martyr to save you if you're gonna die, Tech Assault for 60% chance of your cat not to die whenever it should, and Devolution for infinite lives. It's a pretty simple setup. You literally just go around ensnaring stuff and placing shields as you want. You can also even camp a spawn to reuse the shield and re-ensnare the area instead as more enemies come in. This is where we swap things up a little bit. I'm featuring Garuda because, well, Garuda Prime is coming. I'm actually using my OG Gloom Ruda build here. Anyways, it's pretty simple. Gloom to slow and lifesteal to make up for bloodletting recovering energy. And combat discipline damaging us to power our Avenger. Acceleration as always for fire rates, but unlike the Czar video I showed you 2 days ago, we actually use her 4 this time to prime things for slash. You only need a quick tap now since it auto charges it to full, a bit annoying on charge time even with natural talents, but what else can you do? Besides, we get extra big PP damage from the passive now since it'll be permanently plus 100%. Because we have 4 slash from her 4, our Braton build changes a tad. I gave up the hammer shot and 100 munitions to build for pure viral instead. This way it can self-fuel the viral when slashing off her 4. The bleeds are strong enough you don't really need anything else, but you can still bring an epitaph or the contagion primer I showed earlier. You can use whatever companion you want. I would recommend a Jin with Sweeper for the Vigilante stat stick since you don't need the viral from Panzer or Equilibrium synergy. It's a very comfy setup to use. You just cast Gloom and never shut it off. Then you alternate casting your 4 and shooting stuff. Whenever you run low on energy, just cast your 3. That's it. Very effective, and even more so if you're actually using a functional weapon. Pretty strong, and I feel this does Garuda some justice on showing you how strong she actually is since she always seemed underappreciated. Our last showcase today is the OG OP Chroma Zeta synergy. I'm showing this one because of how we can even slap DEMOLYSTs and Steel Path Disruption with this, and also a slightly updated version since people were telling me about how it was too easy to die in the original Chroma Zeta build I showcased. All that has changed is dropping the Growing Power Aura for Brief Respite, and dropping Umbral Intensify for Rolling Guard. The 3 Augur set bonus and Brief Respite make it so casting Zeta's Whisper will fully regenerate all your shields at once. Pairing this with Rolling Guard gives you the proper shield gating meta you wanted that my original build was missing. This build is so strong that strength loss and lack of crits don't matter, so I'm running Energize instead of Avenger for ease of use. Still acceleration though. If you want a full explanation on how Chroma Zeta works, I'll direct you to the video at the top right that's dedicated on this topic since the underlying mechanics are a bit complicated. But to make this work, you want Cold Elemental Ward. So either toggle your one to get the cold element or pick a missive so you start as cold. You also obviously need Zeta's Whisper Subsumed, which is only allowed to fit over Vex Armor since DE doesn't let you have both on the same build. The Braton build also has to change up a little bit, so I ran it like this. Essentially, we dropped 100 munitions and hammer shot for 2 viral mods again. That way the gigantic base damage boosts the pure viral elemental. We wanted to maximize our odds of proccing viral since it may not proc before the void bubble, so I didn't put any other elements. You want vigilante supplies and Excellus still if you can fit it. The primers are still the same as before, but if you want to bring this into disruption, then I would recommend a Vanstalock to armor strip the demo. This is just a max attack speed shattering impact setup with viral refresh, and lasting sting to drag out the status to 12.6 seconds. Alternate forward and neutral melee to chain shots like I'm doing here. I took a carrier because I couldn't fit Excellus, but otherwise take Jin, again for reawaken infinite lives, so you can take Sweeper or any primary sentinel weapon for the Vigilante stat stick. This one? Just shoot in the general direction of enemies. Headshots will do much more since it will set up the void bubble to aim at their heads. In fact, for DEMOLYSTs, you really want to start by shooting the head with Braton before you strip the armor with the Vanstalock. That way when you actually DPS, it's all headshots still. And there you go, the Mark 1 Braton challenge, Rivenless, completed. I do know the Chroma setup was a bit of a cop-out, but hey, it was my chance to update that build for survivability, while also giving an option that works against DEMOLYSTs. If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or, better yet, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible, like I covered the new augments, new war, and even this meme shitpost. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. Don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.